Have you ever used Matplotlib? If so, you've definitely struggled with all of the problems that come with it. Syntax errors, tricky code, just in general having to navigate it.
Lucky for you, our project, MeltingPlot, addresses these issues by providing a user-friendly web-based application that allows users to focus on data visualization and not syntax errors. How do we do this, you ask? Let's click Try Now.
Let's say you wanted to create a really simple sign graph. Normally in Matplotlib, this would take you a little bit if you didn't know all the syntax. Here, we create a new line, you put in your X data or your Y data. As seen in the examples, we'll just take the sign graph from here, and as seen here as well, you're allowed to use the NumPy library if you want to generate arrays. You can also just use normal Python arrays here if you want. With a quick click of a button, there's our graph. Pretty simple, right?
A really cool feature is being able to create your account, which allows you to both save your progress and projects as well as upload data. So say we create an account like we're doing here, we create our username. Say we just do something simple like username, and then we create a password. It has to be 8 characters to secure it, to make sure we have a really secure system. There we go. And re-enter it just for confirmation. So we're going to do that real quick. Oh, of course. And then we get to our projects page. So in the projects page, we obviously have no projects since we just created our account, but in the top right corner, we can create a new project, which will allow us to go back to our interactive page, which you saw earlier, and now create a project that will be saved. Additionally, say we don't want to just be in interactive mode, we can upload a CSV, which will show in a second, to be in CSV mode. Now, this allows a lot of cool features. Say, for example, we're dealing with the tortoise and the hare, where if you're unfamiliar, there's the tortoise and the hare that enter into a race, and we're trying to plot their distance or their position over time. Say this is the data we have. Well, we can start by creating cool titles such as tortoise and the hare. And then from there, we can create, a description for our project, just talking about what it is exactly we're dealing with here. And from there, we can add. So as you see where it says CSV mode, we have our different columns, just time, and then the tortoise and the hare, and we can go ahead and add lines and populate those fields that are presented. So for example, we can have a line that represents our tortoise, and we can give it a title to make sure we know what we're dealing with. We can enter our X data, which is just the name of the CSV column, and then our Y data. We can give it a color, so just green, because tortoises are green, of course, and then a line type, so just a line graph. Then from there, we can add another line, and we can add a line for the hare. So again, give it a line title, enter our X and Y data, and give it the color blue this time, we'll say, and a line graph again. And then if we go ahead and generate that, we see we get a nice little graph of showing the hare being very sporadic and the tortoise going slow and steady. Say we want to include a legend to be able to to differentiate which one's the hare, which one's the tortoise, and we want to give the x-axis and y-axis labels. Easily customizable. We can go ahead and do that, regenerate our graph. Now we have, as you see there, a title, a little legend, and both the X and Y axes labeled. So that is a great way we can go ahead and do CSV uploads. We can add as many lines as we want. Say we want to add myself. I wasn't personally in the race, but I did a little time trial afterward, and we can add that to see just how I did. My favorite color is red, so we'll go ahead and give myself the color red, and then I can go ahead and put myself, in there, and I can show you guys how I did. Obviously not very well, but it is what it is. We can go ahead and save that project once we're done, once we're satisfied with it, or we want to come back to it for later. And boom, project saved. We don't have to worry about it anymore. And if we need the Python code, we have it right there in front of us. Easy, nice and done. So now back on the projects page, we can see we have the tortoise and the hare right there. We have our description telling us what it is we're doing here. And we'll have that project saved in our account whenever we want to access it again. We can either click on it again if we want to access it again, or just go ahead and create a new project. If we don't want it at all, we can just delete that project once we're done with it. And there you go. That's all the features for an account.